everybody and welcome back to Elle the Law Student. If I sound a bit grotty, that's because I feel it. So today I thought that I would go through how I revise. Basically at the beginning of every term in Oxford we have these things called collections, and they're kind of like mock exams from the topic that we studied the previous term. So when I go back in October I have a collection in contract law. This summer I've been kind of doing bits of revision, and now it's got to September I'm kind of like amping up that revision. This will be my fourth module at university, so I've done both collections and my sort of actual exams in 3 of those, and then this is my sort of fourth collection that I've ever done. Because I've done quite a few now, I feel like I've got the revision method that I'll probably stick with. Obviously there's always room for improvement, but I thought it might be helpful for you, especially if you are going on to study law next year at whatever university, to sort of see how I revise. So the first thing that I do is I condense my notes. By condensing my notes, I find that it really helps me, because it means that if there was something, for example, that I didn't quite understand at first, then it makes sure that I've got the key points of that case. And in order to condense something, you absolutely have to understand it properly. During term time I've read through the case, I've made notes on that case. For my revision and my condensing of the notes, I just basically make sure that everything is really clear and shortened in manageable pieces, and that I've picked out the bits of the case that are really important. For contract law I've got basically 2 condensed notes bundles. For my other subjects I actually only really had 1, and then it sort of varied. So for example for criminal law I just really had sources, so like cases, legislation, that sort of thing, and then I had a separate document that had all of the criteria for the criminal offences in. And for contract law I've found that there's just more kind of general rules and that sort of thing, and so I found that it's easier for me to have a separate document as well with an overview of the topic. This is how I've basically done my notes for contract law. This is obviously the condensed version. This is basically what I've got from the textbook and from the sort of sources overall, and then I just pop it in here so that I've got a good overview of the topic itself, and this can really help me with problem questions and essays and that sort of thing. It's pretty simple. I basically divide everything up into boxes. Any key information is highlighted in the turquoise. Basically it's just a really easy way for me to put everything together, because I find that so often you've read 5 different textbooks, about 30 cases, pieces of legislation, and it's super difficult to then actually fit all the pieces of the jigsaw puzzle together, and that's basically what this is. As I said, I also do the same thing for sources. So for sources I have this big document here. It's pretty hefty, it's like 50 something pages. Start with the facts of the case, and then I highlight the key issue of the case, and then I put what was held in the case. If there's any significant rule that's been set by a particular judge, then I put the judge's name and what was said. I then do the same thing with my articles, so any academic opinion, that sort of thing, that's all condensed. Again, I probably condense that into kind of 3 bullet points, and then when I do practice essays I'll go back to my original notes to get the more detail. Legislation, it's so tempting to just copy and paste it into your notes, but I found doing that you miss out so many different things. So I use the Blackstone statute book, and then from there I highlight the key bits, make sure I fully understand it, and then put the legislation into my own words in my notes. Final revision tool that I create, I basically go through all of the past exam papers for the past kind of 5 years-ish, and get all of the past exam questions, whether it's essays or problem questions. I then group them according to topic, and I put the examiner's feedback underneath them as well. The way that I tend to revise is that I will kind of do all of my condensing, learning, and I find it really important to then actually practice doing the exam paper. Cases can be kind of anything between like 10 and 100 pages, 150 pages, even more, and so during term time I've read through all of that. By the time it gets to condensing my notes, if I reread every single case, that just would be counterproductive, and I don't need to do that, I've already read them. And so what I tend to do in this case is to kind of go through my case notes and then to make sure I've not missed anything significant about the case, which is super easy to do. Judges go on a lot. I use this. This is a contract law text cases and materials book. So it basically just includes the key points of different cases. These are taken straight from the case itself, but these are the significant parts of the judgment. And so I basically will use this book to help me identify what the key points are that I need to have taken away from it. The other thing that I do is I put all of my cases onto revision cards. I've used Quizlet since AS, I think, because I used revision cards, like paper revision cards for GCSE, and I ended up with them everywhere and it was just a bit of a nightmare. I've found that using Quizlet is so easy because it means I can access them on my laptop, my iPad, my phone, and they're all in one place. I don't need to worry about storing them or losing them or anything, and I can change them really easily if I realise there's a mistake. So the way that all of this works after the notes are condensed and everything, I have been at the moment doing sort of 1 day per topic, and within that day I make sure that I fully understand all of my notes. I go through the cases, make sure I understand those in detail, and then I plan out a few questions that are on the past exam papers to make sure that I can apply that knowledge and form my own opinions on it. Every day pretty much I do the entire set of revision cards, not just the ones for that topic, and that really helps to get everything in my head. Everyone revises in different ways. This is just how I have been revising since I started university, and this is quite different to how I revised at A-level. At A-level I really didn't do too much like practice of exam questions and that sort of thing because I felt like once I'd got the knowledge I was fine, and I didn't really condense my notes or do anything like that. I just put everything onto flashcards, which at degree level I just don't think would be effective for me personally. But this might also help if you are doing your A-levels. I kind of wish that I'd taken more of a diverse approach to my A-levels. I think that practicing the skills that you'll need in the exam is really important. If nothing else, for me it helps to kind of calm me down and make me feel like I can actually do the exam because I've practiced it so much that it would be quite rare that something could faze me. Not that I'm never fazed in an exam, because I absolutely am. I hope that wasn't too kind of all over the place. I was just sort of thinking of what I do off the top of my head. I know some of you will be heading to university now as well, which is really exciting, and so if you are, then best of luck with Freshers Week. I hope you make loads of friends and have lots of fun, and don't get too stressed about anything, and if you have any questions please let me know.